5 winters ago, a starving German Shepherd was pulled from the brink of death by a man who refused to walk away. He fed her, healed her wounds, and gave her the first taste of safety she had ever known. But fate tore them apart, leaving only memories. For years, neither knew if they would ever see each other again. Then, in the middle of an ordinary day at a busy park, destiny intervened. Their eyes met across the crowd, and what happened next left everyone frozen in disbelief. This was no ordinary reunion. This was the shocking proof of a bond stronger than time itself. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The winter night was colder than usual, the streets nearly deserted. Snow crunched beneath the boots of Daniel, a middle-aged man heading home after work. Just as he turned past an abandoned alley, a faint, broken sound stopped him, a whimper so soft it was almost swallowed by the wind. His heart clenched. He followed the sound and found her. Curled against a broken crate was a young German Shepherd, her ribs visible, her fur matted with dirt, and her eyes wide with fear. She was trembling, too weak to stand, yet her ears flickered at the sight of a human. A thin rope dangled loosely around her neck, suggesting she had been tied and abandoned days ago. Daniel crouched slowly, speaking softly, his voice breaking the silence of despair. At first, the dog bared her teeth in frightened defense, but her growl quickly melted into a cry, as though she wanted to believe in kindness again. Daniel removed his jacket, gently wrapping her frail body against the cold. He lifted her carefully, as if she were glass that could shatter at any moment. That night, beneath the freezing sky, a forgotten life was carried into the arms of hope. Daniel named her Luna, believing her survival that night was nothing short of a miracle. The first days were the hardest. Luna refused to eat, her body flinching at every sudden movement, her eyes darting as though shadows still carried threats. She had been broken by cruelty, and Daniel knew healing her would take more than food or medicine. It would take patience. He set up a small bed by the fireplace, leaving fresh water and food nearby, but never forcing her. Each night, he sat on the floor a few feet away, reading softly or humming under his breath. Slowly, Luna began to understand that this man was different. The first time she ate from the bowl while Daniel was still in the room, his eyes welled with tears. Days turned into weeks. Her coat regained its shine, her ribs filled out, and the spark of curiosity returned to her eyes. She would nudge Daniel's hand cautiously, and he would respond with the gentlest touch, never rushing her trust. One evening, as Daniel dozed on the couch, Luna climbed beside him, resting her head on his chest. For the first time, she closed her eyes without fear. In that moment, the bond between man and dog was sealed forever. For 5 years, Luna lived as Daniel's shadow. She followed him to the fields, greeted him at the door, and even curled at his feet when he worked late into the night. Their bond was unshakable, built on trust and silent understanding. But life, as it often does, brought an unexpected storm. Daniel's health began to falter. What started as fatigue turned into longer hospital stays, and soon he was faced with a heartbreaking decision. He couldn't give Luna the care she deserved. With trembling hands, he reached out to a trusted friend in the city, asking him to foster her temporarily until he recovered. The day of parting was unbearable. Luna sensed something was wrong when Daniel didn't reach for her leash in his usual cheerful tone. Instead, he knelt, pressing his forehead against hers. His voice cracked as he whispered, "I'll come for you, Luna. I promise." But promises made in pain often take longer to fulfill. Weeks turned into months, and months slipped into years. Luna adjusted to her new life, but the spark in her eyes dimmed whenever strangers passed by. Every bark at the gate, every sound of footsteps, carried the same unspoken question: was Daniel coming back today? 5 years had passed since that painful goodbye. Daniel's health had slowly improved, but life's hardships had kept him from searching for Luna. He often carried her picture in his wallet, tracing the edges of her image, whispering her name like a prayer. He never imagined fate was quietly weaving their paths back together. After 5 years, one chilly autumn afternoon, Daniel visited a nearby park to clear his mind. Children played, couples strolled, and dogs of every breed ran freely across the grass. As he walked slowly past the trees, his gaze drifted to a group of dogs playing near a bench. And then, he froze. There she was, a German shepherd, taller now, her coat glistening under the pale sunlight. She looked stronger, older, but her eyes, those deep, soulful eyes, were unmistakable. It was Luna. Daniel's heart thundered in his chest. His steps faltered, unsure if he should call out. What if she didn't remember him? What if she turned away? His hands trembled as he whispered her name, barely audible at first. Luna. The dog's ears twitched. She stopped mid-step, her head snapping toward the voice she hadn't heard in years. For a heartbeat, time stood still. The bustling park faded away. Man and dog locked eyes, and something unspoken stirred between them, a recognition too powerful to ignore. For a long moment, Luna didn't move. She stood frozen, her ears pricked high, her body tense as if her heart was racing faster than her paws could carry. The world around her blurred, the barking of other dogs, the laughter of children, the rustle of leaves, all drowned beneath the sound of that single familiar voice. Daniel whispered again, louder this time, his voice trembling. Luna, it's me. His eyes shone with tears, uncertain if the years had erased him from her memory. He took a cautious step forward, his hand stretching out, the same way he had done on the night he first found her trembling in the alley. Suddenly, Luna moved. At first, it was a cautious step, then another, her eyes locked on his face. And then, without warning, she broke into a sprint. The ground shook beneath her paws as she bolted toward him, tail whipping wildly, her voice breaking into a howl that was part cry, part joy. She collided into Daniel's chest with such force that he stumbled back onto the bench. Luna licked his face furiously, whining, pawing at him, pressing her body into his as though afraid he might disappear again. Onlookers stopped, gasping in awe. They had just witnessed a dog recognizing her savior after 5 long years, and her reaction left everyone speechless. The park was silent except for Luna's cries of joy. Strangers pulled out their phones, recording the moment, their voices trembling with amazement. Some wiped away tears as they realized they were witnessing more than a reunion. It was proof of a bond that time could never erase. Daniel clutched Luna tightly, his arms wrapped around her trembling body, whispering over and over, "I never forgot you, girl." Not for a single day. As the commotion settled, the family who had fostered Luna approached. They had loved her deeply, but even they were stunned by her reaction. "She remembers him," the woman said softly, her eyes moist. There was no jealousy, no hesitation, only recognition that Luna's heart had found its true home again. In the weeks that followed, Daniel and Luna became inseparable once more. Walks in the park, meals shared, and quiet evenings by the fire returned as if no years had passed at all. Luna's tail wagged constantly now, her eyes shining with the peace of a dog who had finally come full circle. For Daniel, the reunion was more than just a miracle. It was a reminder that loyalty and love are forces stronger than time, distance, or hardship. And for those who witnessed it, the story lived on as a testament to the memory of a dog and the man who once saved her life. Some bonds are written not in years, but in hearts, and Luna and Daniel's was one of them.